very warm welcome to this last panel discussion of IFA that is on impactful vegan advocacy, unique perspectives. And today on the panel, we have three committed crusaders for animal rights and animal welfare. And these people have done some commendable work in this in whole decade so far. And so with this, I introduce you to the panelists. Our first panelist is Shankar Narayan. Shankar Narayan is the founder, president of Sattvic Vegan Society. He has been an esteemed member of the task force on vegan foods by Food Safety and Standards Authority of India. He is the former counselor and regional coordinator of IVU, a global federation of veg organizations for India and Southwest Asia from 2006 to 2016. Thank you so much for being here with us, Shankar sir, and over to you.
Hello everyone, I am Shankar Narayan, the founder of Sattvic Vegan Society. I am happy to be here today as part of the program organized by FIAPO. I am going to speak about Sattvic Vegan Activism. Before going to activism, let me explain what is veganism. Veganism is the practice of ahimsa, and it is a logical extension of vegetarianism. With veganism, we don't eat any animals or animal products or use any animal services also for different benefits. We do not harm animals, we help the environment, and we gain enormous health benefits too. What is Sattvic veganism? Sattvic veganism is little extension of veganism. So in Sattvic veganism, we practice not only ahimsa philosophy, we practice other values as well, like truthfulness. To achieve our target or objective, we want to follow the right path. We do not want to use any foul methods. We want to practice the correct way of following Sattvic lifestyle. In addition to that, we want to practice simplicity also. Because when we are simple, when we live simple life, it is good for the environment, good for animals, good for everyone. This way, we add other values also, in addition to ahimsa value, to our lifestyle and practice. This is, in brief, what is Sattvic veganism is. Now, what is activism? Activism is conveying our feelings, our views to the public so that the same is practiced by everyone for the benefit of the earth and its inhabitants. So when we practice Sattvic veganism or Sattvic vegan activism, we follow certain principles. What are those? So while practicing and preaching, so both we need to be an examples. As Mahatma Gandhi said, be the change you want to see in the world. We want to live as an example first. We want to live as an example by practicing all the values so that people get attracted to our lifestyle. That is a very fundamental, basic thing. In addition to do that, in addition to doing this, we also do some other activities. We do activities like events. When we organize events, we give good music, we give good food. As it is, we are practicing a lot of values in our lifestyle. With the combination of all these, people come to us. Instead of we going to people and preaching them, people come to us and ask, what is veganism? What is Sattvic veganism? Like this, they get curious and they come to us and ask about this. So when people are ready to receive the information, it is easier for us to tell about what we stand for. So this is just about our activism. In addition to this, we have certain other principles which you follow. One of the most important things is polite language, non-violent language. We being vegan activists, we feel a little stress on many occasions, because we see a lot of injustices, a lot of violence, a lot of unpalatable things happening for animals and for everyone who is part of this earth. When we deal with all this, it is very much possible that we get stressed. When we are stressed, we lose control on ourselves. Then all the bad things or unpalatable things come out of us. So to prevent that, we have to follow polite language. Under any circumstances, we should not get angry and do outbursts. We have to be polite. We have to be respectable to others. When we do this, we are accessible and people come to us. When people come to us, it is easy for us to convey our methods, convey our points. So that is what basic method of Sattvic veganism. And we don't contradict ourselves. We preach one thing and we practice another thing. At that time, people won't believe us. People won't trust us. What we preach, that we practice. Be the change you want to see in the world, Mahatma Gandhi said. The same thing we practice, being Sattvic vegans. First thing, whatever we say is applicable to us. When we practice, people trust us. When people see contradiction in ourselves, they may not take us seriously. For them to take us seriously, we need to practice whatever we preach first. Then our lifestyle, our way of living, that itself is a message for people. This is very essential for our Sattvic vegan activism. And one more thing, what I want to emphasize is, when we are practicing activism of Sattvic veganism, we do not aim to convert anyone. Conversion is not our aim. Our main aim is to give information to the public so that they can take a wiser and informed decision. When we do this, people are not afraid of coming to us because we are not preaching, we are not compelling them to do anything. We are just giving them information, giving them a choice to do what is good for them, what is most suitable for them. And they will get their space to change their lifestyle. When that happens, we may not get immediate result. We may not, as it is, we don't have any target. We don't work with a target. As in Bhagavad Gita, it is said, Karmanye vadikaraste ma phaleshu kadachana. So keeping that in view, our duty is to give information to the people. Taking decision or converting themselves, it is left to them. So when we give information, when we give in the right way, they will accept the information, they will receive the information, and they will process it. When they process, they will have enough evidence, enough reasons to change themselves. Credit goes to them for changing themselves. Credit is not ours. Our job is to give information. This is what we do. With this kind of activism, we have seen quite a lot of people changing, even though not immediately. They come to us with our various activities. We organize vegan festivals. We organize public information system. We go to talks. We set up stalls. In every case, people have a choice. People are not forced to do anything. Of course, violence is very bad. It is not at all acceptable. But we do not have a magic wand to change the people's mindset and lifestyle. We have to go in a systematic way. We have to go in a polite way, where our views, our ideas, our movement is respected. I've seen a lot of people, those who convert themselves to be vegans, don't call themselves to be vegans because there is some negativity has crept in along the way, maybe because of over enthusiasm or aggressive approach to promote veganism. And maybe there are many other reasons also. In these circumstances, if we go and forcefully tell people to do what is to be done or what is not to be done, certainly I think that is counterproductive. Therefore, living as an example, telling people what we do, and explaining what are the benefits for our health, for animals, for the environment, and for overall well-being of the Mother Earth. When we explain all these, there is better way of acceptance. Even I've seen all these processes of a vegan or vegan activist doing differently in different circumstances in my own life and my society's life. Therefore, the best path is be the change you want to see in the world and tell the world what you stand for. When we do that, so people have better options. There are more acceptability of veganism, and we should never hesitate to tell ourselves that we are vegans. Vegan is a positive word, and it is a logical extension of vegetarianism. And when vegetarianism is accepted with so much respect and reverence, veganism certainly has benefit. It has more value, more acceptance, and people will certainly respect what veganism stands for. And with this, I would like to conclude my few words. To sum up, veganism is a very positive concept. It is the blessing for the humanity and for all the inhabitants of the earth that a concept like veganism has come to the people, and we need to practice. We need to follow its principle in total and be examples for others so that everyone will take lessons from our lifestyle and create a better world for everyone. With this, I would like to conclude my short talk. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Shankarji. That was some very empowering words that you've shared with us. And with this, I would like to introduce our next panelist. Our next panelist is Robin Singh. He must be very widely known also as a social media influencer in some way. To tell you a bit about Robin, Robin is a hacker turned entrepreneur who co-founded People Farm in 2014. People Farm is a stray animal rescue organization and an organic farm where animals come to heal and to be heard. He's been building it, running it, and living there since. So, with this, I give over to you, Robin.
People tend to listen better to people who are like them. So that's why I chose to talk to people in North India. That also dictated our language of choice, Hindi, which is the most commonly spoken language here, which worked out to my advantage because I speak so much worse in English. Now, having cultural and religious context is also very important because then you know you're not going to hurt somebody's sensibilities, because when you do that they just shut down and they're not listening to you. Recently we made a video about halal meat and we showed a depiction of Prophet Muhammad which was culturally very inappropriate. So people just focus on that and entirely miss the point of the video. So this is a perfect example of what not to do. People we try to converse with through our videos are people who haven't yet thought about the issue, they haven't yet connected the dots. These are not people who have thought about the issue and decided to rationalize it away. These are people who believe either they're good or they want to be good. These are the metaphorical lowest hanging fruit. Now, a disadvantage awareness faces as opposed to education is people are looking to get educated. Hardly anyone is looking to get aware. People are looking for self improvement, they are looking for information on current trending topics, they are looking for entertainment. So you need to find an overlap, a commonality between what they want and what you want them to want. So that's why I tend to weave my message in a narrative that's aligned with what they are seeking. That's where stories come in. It could be something I've seen, it could be a fictional story, it could be a story from my personal life, because no matter how diverse the human experience is, there is a huge overlap of emotion in certain experiences that when you manage to tap into, people go like, huh, that I understand, that I get, I can get behind that. We also try to frame issues in a way where 90% of the people would agree with us. So when we are talking about stray dogs and birth control, so we're not talking about it out of compassion for the poor dogs. We are talking about there's just too many dogs on the street. We need to control that. Almost everybody would agree. When we talk about meat eating, we are talking about animals feel pain. It's a fact. We talk about animals shouldn't be tortured. Even people who eat meat would agree with that statement. Now, when we're talking about milk, we are not talking about how well the cows are kept, because forget objective reality. The perception is that cows are kept like family members in Indian villages. So that's what we are up against. So we are not going to go there. We talk about how old cows are abandoned on the streets. You can just see it. There's so many cows on the street. We talk about how old buffaloes are slaughtered, because it's on television that India is like one of the top beef exporters. Now the message we weave, it has to have a call to action. भाई मुद्दा मन हल्का करना नहीं है ना, मुद्दा बदलाव लाना है. And this call to action, it has to be gentle. It has to be a nudge, not a push. Most importantly, it has to be respectful. You're trying to sell these people awareness, so you got to treat them like a client. Now, it's very hard to respect people who indulge in behaviors that you do not approve of. So, remembering a few things helps you stay respectful. For one, these people didn't choose to be the way they are. People are largely a product of their upbringing, so it's not their fault. Second, you are flawed too. I indulge in behaviors that carry a suffering footprint. I eat chips, and they indirectly cause suffering. I've joined Snackaholics Anonymous, still struggling. Third, the point where we are at, we've taken time to get there. We have processed information, we've gotten our questions answered, we've taken time to adjust our lifestyle. Now, because we know the issue so well, there's this sense of urgency. But instead of that translating into effective messaging, it translates into this abrasive enthusiasm, where we want people to go from 0 to 100 as soon as we tell them about the issue. And that's not very pragmatic. That just pushes people away. I think approaching it like a friend, like a guide, like a teacher is so much better, where you ask them questions, you give them food for thought, you let them come to conclusions that they can own. Think of like becoming a teacher you have never had for a subject that you are not good at. Your chances of being heard are so much higher when you take the I understand approach instead of you are wrong approach. And these conversations, they're also a negotiation. You're trying to get people to give up something. You're trying to get them to pay a cost today with the promise that they will feel better tomorrow. So sometimes it becomes necessary for you to give them a discount. If being vegan is a big ask today, so try being veganish. At the end of the day, you're trying to get people over to your side, and it's done so much better trying to win hearts than trying to win arguments.
Thank you, Robin. That was very well said. Trying to win hearts than to win the arguments. And with this, I go over to our third speaker. Our third panelist is Prashant Vishwanath. He has 10 plus years of experience in the nature conservation development and animal rights sector. He's brilliant at strategic planning and network building, planning and implementation of campaigns. He presently leads Veganuary India with an aim or to enable 100,000 people to try vegan in January 2022. Thank you for being here with us, Prashant. And with this, I give over to you.
Sometimes, when you're alone in the woods, it feels pretty, isolated. Almost like the world out there has nothing to do with you. But then I realized we're all in this together. So I decided to make some positive changes. I'm using my car less. I started riding my bike. But I wanted to do more. So I decided to try the Veganuary Challenge. Doing my part felt great. And being part of a global community felt even better. With some help and inspiration, trying vegan for a month was easy. I heartily recommend it. What have you got to lose?
Hello, India for animals, and a happy Veganuary to all of you. I'm super thrilled to be talking to all of you at this point of time because we have officially launched in India and we've got a phenomenal response for the 2022 campaign. I'll share more details with you. Let me share my screen. I hope you can see my presentation. So Veganuary, what is the big deal? What is it all about? We've had the biggest Veganuary so far since our launch globally in 2014, and 6 lakh participants have signed up to try vegan in January 22. I think that's a great number, and we are set to grow further year after year. Now, what is Veganuary? Veganuary is a challenge where you try vegan for 30 days and learn about veganism in the process. And what is the Veganuary style? We focus on high impact cause areas in countries where we can help the most number of animals. We also share knowledge and resources freely, and we work with organizations and volunteer groups to build capacity and increase our impact in outreach about veganism. We also give the campaign away for free. Our logo, our creatives, and our materials are free to use by brands who want to introduce new vegan products, offer discounts, and new menus during the season of Veganuary that we are creating, which is a free marketing opportunity for brands. Now, who do we reach out to? In fact, anyone who wants to try vegan. But especially in India, we find that the young generation of people between 18 and 35 years are most interested in trying vegan. These are probably millennials and Gen Zs who want to change their lifestyle to make a positive contribution towards climate change and animal abuse. They are young parents who want a healthy lifestyle for their children and to take better care of their parents who are probably senior citizens now. And how do we reach out to them? This year, our campaign has been almost exclusively digital. I don't have to repeat the stats that we've all seen on how much more content people are consuming online, how much more screen time people are having these days, especially with work from home, blah, 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 blah. So it's a digital campaign, which is principally reaching out to and finding interest from the young generation, especially in India. Now, why try vegan with us? It's free, first of all. That's why. And who doesn't like free stuff? Secondly, and more importantly, this year we're completely desi. Our whole package of support material and advice for people trying vegan for January is Indianized for anyone who is signing up from India. So that includes the recipes, the meal plans, the celeb cookbook with Indian celebrities contributing recipes and nutrition plans and whatnot. Then, what are our perspectives towards vegan advocacy? Number one, it is that we need to be informative. And Veganuary is super informative in the sense that authentic and reliable information on a vegan lifestyle, nutrition, animal welfare is collated and shared with people who sign up to try vegan over a period of 31 days. Now, there is a lot of misinformation and lack of information, like where you get your protein from, and you will be like vitamin deficient if you try vegan. All of this are hindrances for people who want to try vegan, and that's what we need to plug, and we are trying to plug with um, with the provision of reliable information to people. We are inclusive, especially in India. We are conscious that geographically, in terms of religion and culture, traditions, um, we are supremely diverse. And we want to make all of these people from all different backgrounds feel included and share information that makes them want to try vegan with us. We are positive and fun. Well, here's a question. Who likes a preachy vegan? Only other preachy vegans. And that is not helping any animals. So for anyone who wants to try vegan, who is already skeptical about the lifestyle, we need to make it as simple and easy and fun as possible for them. And that's very important if we need to get more people to try vegan. And that's what we're trying to do. We are enabling. A 2021 December survey, All India survey, found that many people who want to try vegan, about 18% of them find it difficult to find vegan food when they go to eat outside. Many people, about 14% of them, are unaware of where they can buy vegan food from. So we work with brands, especially to give them an opportunity to create special offers, launch new products, to enable people to access and afford vegan products more freely during Veganuary. And I think that's a very important aspect of helping people make the transition. We build a community. When I was first trying vegan, I was fortunate enough to have a group of people, friends, who I could do it with, who were doing the same sort of experiment and undergoing the same change in their lifestyle. But most people don't have it. They're fighting with their families, they're losing friends, and they feel isolated. And that's what we want to avoid, help them avoid, by giving them a community to relate to be part of. And there are a lot of cool vegans in India. And we need to show people who want to try vegan that it's a cool lifestyle. There are mountaineers, bodybuilders, film stars, entrepreneurs, professional athletes, pro basketball players, you name it. And these vegans are trailblazers and showing the way forward about how to be a healthy, happy, active vegan. And we are trying to showcase those lifestyles to people who are trying the lifestyle, trying veganism for the first time. Now, that's our approach and our perspective to vegan advocacy. Does it work? What does it achieve? Impact number one, participation. Participation in Veganuary has grown from 2014. And now, like I shared earlier, with 6 lakh participants and counting, this is our biggest campaign year ever globally. What do they get out of Veganuary? More than 2/3 of the participants have reported improvement in overall health. This is in terms of better energy level, mood, skin appearance, and body weight. Impact number two, awareness. Like I said, there is a lot of misinformation and lack of information about a vegan lifestyle. And that's what we try to plug and put out relevant, authentic information on what it means to be a healthy vegan. And this year alone, more than 400 articles on the vegan lifestyle on Veganuary have been published in national and regional publications, magazines, dailies, etc. That goes a long way in reaching out to people with the right message that a vegan lifestyle is desirable. Again, in the December 2021 study, it was found that 65% of Indians say they are interested in trying a vegan diet. We need to reach these people. Nearly 70% of the people think eating a vegan diet is an admirable thing. And more than 60% of people's perceptions on a vegan lifestyle has improved over the last 2 years. Impact number 3, corporate engagement. Last year, more than 250 vegan menus were added to restaurants for Veganuary. 57 major companies participated in the Veganuary Workplace Challenge. This year, in 2022, more than 40 Indian brands have participated in Veganuary with product launches, new discount offers, Veganuary menus, etc. Impact number 4, since again the launch in 2014 globally, in fact, Veganuary was founded on a kitchen table in UK by a couple. Since then, we have grown to be global. Every year, people from more than 200 plus countries and territories participate in Veganuary. And officially, we are present in the US, Latin America, Europe, South Africa, India, and Australia. And we are set to grow to more and more countries. The last and the biggest positive impact of Veganuary is probably the nearly 7 million animals that have been spared suffering because of the 2 million participants that have signed up and tried vegan in January. Isn't that phenomenal? All these animals have not had to go through suffering, pain, and abuse because of these people who decided to try vegan just in January. Apart from that, Veganuary participants have also helped conserve water, prevent pollution, and save nearly 2 lakh tons of carbon dioxide equivalent. Those are solid impacts. Now, did they maintain a vegan diet during Veganuary once they signed up? 61% of the people did. And will they continue eating vegan after Veganuary? 40% of the people said they will. And most importantly, 85% of the people said they plan to reduce their intake of animal-based foods even after Veganuary. Isn't that a solid service and impact for animals? And lastly, would they recommend Veganuary? Yes, 98% of the people said they would to a friend or family member. That's it from me about the perspectives and impact of Veganuary. I'll be happy to answer any questions in the Q&A session. Over to you, Sarita.
Thank you, everyone. It has been amazing. It's very motivating. I would say that, seeing these numbers, what you all have had to say, it's just, it leads you in the direction to try and create more and more of that impact. So it's really commendable, and I'm really grateful to be, here to moderate this panel with you all. So, while you have talked about your approaches and the way you create impact, I have some questions about challenges. Right, because challenges are just like an inevitable part of the process. So my first question is to you, Shankarji. So in your presentation, you've also talked about that we have to be very polite in our approach, and we have to practice what we preach. And at the same time, you quoted Bhagavad Gita saying, "Karma nevadikaraste ma phaleshu kadachit." Right. So you said that, the duty lies with us, but the credit of the result, the impact lies with the people. But at the same time, we know that, there is a huge voice in the community, within vegan community also, and around it also, that vegans are preachy. Right. And there is also this voice that that's very extremist of it. Do you ever come across this, and how do you then maintain your path with all purity?
Yes, thank you for this question. I've been here as a dinosaurus for more than 20 years. I'm not still extinct. Okay. If I had taken all the pressures from other vegans, from non-vegans, I would not have been survived this long. So that is how I manage. It gets stressed at times, and we have to cut off somewhere. So we have to take only what is positive, what will help us in our activism or in our life. If we survive only, we can pass on the message. If we don't survive, if you, by whatever means, if we stop our activism or stop even our lives, a lot of sad news I am hearing nowadays. If it happens, so we end our world with that. So we cannot do that. We have to be there. We have to, when we are there, we can do some actions. Therefore, my approach is cut off negatives. If there is some negative coming, so just ignore that. I don't have to take it seriously because there are some people who are thriving on that kind of things. We need to understand their background, their compulsions, and all. We don't have to give much importance to such messages or such people, even sometimes. And we have to keep doing what we feel good and what is really good. That firm belief in our system, our way of doing things, and our path of achieving something, we need to be carrying on, and then only we can achieve something. Even our existence, being a vegan, is itself a message for people. So when we travel, and I travel, I don't have to say I am a vegan. By my practice, people find it different. They will ask questions. So being a vegan itself is an achievement in this non-vegan world. And if you do more, it's always good. So that is how I take. Hope I answered your question.
Yes, absolutely. So I'll bring the question to Robin, and Robin, मैं आपसे आपके अंदाज में पूछूंगी जैसे आप बात करते हो, because it's very very interesting. आप बहुत सारी चीजों को बहुत natural lifestyle, एक principle से जोड़ देते हो, और आपने आज के टॉक में भी बोला कि अगर हम vegan नहीं बन सकते तो हम veganish तो बन सकते हैं. And I'm sure sometimes this can get trolled. तो how do you deal with it? आप कैसे manage करते हैं? I think you're on mute. You're on mute.
Sorry about that. भाई देखो, veganish का जो ख्याल आया था ना, वो तो यहाँ से था भाई, जैसे ancient wisdom है, भागते चोर की लंगोटी ही सही, वो वाली बात है ना? तो बाकी जो लोग criticize करते हैं, I honestly just don't care, because मैं बड़ा ही सिंगल माइंडेड हूँ. मेरा फोकस है इफेक्टिवनेस, जो मेरे लिए है भाई, बिफोर आई डाई मैक्सिमम अमाउंट ऑफ सफरिंग रिड्यूस्ड. तो व्हाटएवर गेट्स इट रिड्यूस्ड इज इफेक्टिव फॉर मी. तो आई डोंट रियली केयर इफ समबडी गेट्स ऑफेंडेड. मतलब हाँ, दैट्स एसेंशियली इट.
Okay, great. With this, I come to you, Prashant. On the question of challenges, so you've been leading Veganuary, right? And there is a rhetoric in the country. Vegan to Western concept hai. It's a Western concept. It's a Western principle. Why are we acknowledging and promoting it so much? Is what we all hear at times. And also then it comes with the statement that हमारे यहाँ factory farms नहीं होते. We keep our cows with love and care. Veganuary being an international brand and being such a huge organization that's working globally, how do you, respond to this kind of rhetoric?
Suddenly, I feel good that I'm wearing kurta pajama right now. But it's a global organization, yes, and the label is the name is in English. All that is right, but the organization Veganuary India itself, like I said, is an Indian organization, and we are completely desi now. And I'll lean on Shankarji's words earlier that ahimsa. And today is the death anniversary of Mahatma Gandhi. And, to think of what he said, that, the life of a lamb is probably, the same as the life of a human being, right? So we can say that it's it's ahimsa, non-violence, kindness, compassion, are all quintessentially like Indian concepts. And there is nothing exclusively like Western or foreign about it. No one has the sort of a ownership certificate for the idea of lifestyle of veganism. That being said, again, we need to be smart enough because we are advocates trying to make the most out of our lifetimes, right? In trying to influence and help people become live a more compassionate lifestyle. So KFC is Western, right? And fossil fuels are. We all use them, and they're desirable. So it's okay. It's good if it's a Western concept. Again, use what works with the audience that you're talking to your advantage. And the idea is to make it desirable and accessible and affordable. Vegans are not eating avocados every day, and we are eating normal food. And Indian cuisine is probably some of the most vegan friendly cuisines that there is. So that's what I would say to the sort of question of it being a Western concept. No, it's not. Like, let's embrace it for what it is. And the question of cows being kept on sort of family farms and being loved as family members. I guess FIAPO did a very groundbreaking pioneering survey across dairy farms across the country 2-3 years ago, and that shows the condition of these animals in the dairy farms, even in peri-urban areas, not necessarily industrial farms. So that in some cases is worse than how it is the situation for these animals in factory farms. So in no way is such treatment of animals and such a scale, almost across the country with no exception, acceptable. So I mean, let's not give these excuses to ourselves that wo Western hai, hum nahi karte, all of these. These are realities which have been shown time and again, and should persuade us to adopt a plant-based lifestyle.
Yes, thank you for that answer. So with this, I come to the next question. So, in these last 2 years, over this decade also, we've seen that this vegan movement in India has grown a lot. But in the last 2 years, because of the pandemic or whatever reasons, we've seen that there are too many digital keyword searches when you look for word vegan, right? And people are becoming increasingly aware, either for their health reasons or because of the pandemic or climate change. And at the same time, there is, I think, Shankarji would say that, you were at the task force with FSSAI, and this is very groundbreaking that we have now something to talk about for the vegan logo for vegan foods, packeted foods. And this task force is still looking into, how to prepare guidelines for all of the vegan foods and restaurants and all of these things. So all of this has been happening. What does the so I'm coming from the point that maybe the world will not look the same way that it was there probably 2-3 years ago, because everything is heavily digital also, and plant-based market has grown. So what does the future look like in terms of vegan advocacy? And I would add to this the question of, is veganism entirely the answer of reducing the suffering of animals? So maybe Shankarji, you can answer this first.
What is your question? Question is
tomorrow. The question is, what does the future of vegan advocacy looks like from now on, from coming from all of this background?
Okay. So that is why we are still living. So tomorrow is hopeful and beautiful. We are expecting a lot of things and better results. We will come up with solutions for all of our problems. We will survive. And we will survive and thrive also. So that is the hope with which we live every day. And that is happening. So 20 years ago, vegan word was not heard, and I was a mad person in the sane world. But today, the madness is growing. A lot of people becoming mad of veganism, and they are changing. And you can see everywhere, even celebrities, politicians, and business people. Now, recently, ITC came with some vegan product. So these kind of changes have happened because of our positive outlook. And today, we are in a place where we are in the world where majority are non-vegan still. But that doesn't deter us to think boldly about a better future for everyone. I'm not just talking about animals. It is for humans also. Humans also suffer a lot because of eating animals. And when we do hurt animals, we get hurt. That's why I say, what we have, that we give, what we give, that we get. So if we have happiness, we give happiness. If we give happiness, we will get back happiness. That way, if we have hope about tomorrow and future, and the world is certainly becoming better and better day by day, that is the hope, at least. Even reality may be disheartening sometimes, but I have a lot of hope. I want to live another at least 30, 40 years in this moment and see a majority of India becoming vegan by then. Thank you.
Yes. Okay. So I understand that you're coming from a perspective of hope that if we continue to survive and live and do better, why not in this as well? Robin, I bring this question to you also, right? So you are like a digital media influencer also. How do you, I'm sorry for using that word if you don't like it, but you are in a way sort of changing people's perspective in your own way. So how do you see from this point on what will vegan advocacy and which direction should we take in any way?
Yeah, give me a second to answer. Is that okay?
Sure, we'll go to Prashant for this then. Prashant, over to you. You're on mute.
Yeah. Thanks, Sarita. And it seems like the direction forward is to be more enabling. And like I shared those stats, the interest is there. And like Shankarji was sharing, the market is there. The brands are seeing that, that's where they need to, expand. So create an ecosystem where there is more awareness, there is more accessibility of vegan products. That's a definite way forward. Another thing is to be culturally relevant. These questions that you asked, the one earlier about Western concept and all that. Even within India, say for example, how included do people from different cultures and religions or backgrounds, economic backgrounds, feel? There is an aspirational aspect, right? That if there is someone in a village, they want to go to a mall and eat a fried chicken or whatever. So how do we make it culturally acceptable, relevant, aspirational to eat millets and to eat to diversify our diets with the phenomenal plant biodiversity that we have. We are a tropical country, for God's sake. We have so much diversity in our plants and crops. It's not like the temperate countries which don't have this level of diversity. How do we make that relevant? How do we enable? How do we get culturally relevant? And I think again, when you talk about the way forward, the youth is extremely empowered. They have all the information they want. Like a large percentage of people who are trying vegan in January are between 13 and 17 years of age also. So all the leading movements in the world, like the climate change movement, the biodiversity movement, and the sustainable development goals, all have youth leaders. So I think the way forward for us is to forget about educating these people. They are they are making the change. They have role models like Greta Thunberg and Genesis Butler and whatnot. So they are there and making positive changes to themselves and and for the world. So we need to at the national level also groom, promote, and sort of create those youth leaders that will take the movement forward.
I'm completely agreeing with you. At the same time, you said remaining culturally relevant, right? Robin, can we come with this to you, and can we also take your input on the previously asked question, the importance of remaining culturally relevant in the vegan advocacy movement, and how do you see the way forward for this?
Yeah, first of all, I think कि मैं इतना optimistic नहीं हूँ कि जितना बाकी लोग हैं, बिकॉज अवेयरनेस आप जितना मर्जी कर लीजिए उसका एक सैचुरेशन पॉइंट आएगा. देयर आर टन्स ऑफ पीपल एंड दिस इज द मेजॉरिटी. उनको पता है कि भैया मर रही है गाय, उनको चाहिए स्वाद. ठीक है. सो दे आर नॉट मेकिंग these people are neither, they are not necessarily highly ethical, or they are, उनको उनके पास सारी अवेयरनेस है, फिर भी वो स्मार्ट डिसीजन लेने के केपेबल नहीं है, और वट एवर द रीजन इज. वी आर अ प्रोडक्ट ऑफ आवर एनवायरमेंट आफ्टर ऑल. तो आई थिंक अवेयरनेस की अभी इंडिया में तो बहुत जरूरत है, बिकॉज अनलाइक वेस्टर्न कंट्रीज जैसे यूएस में ऑलमोस्ट एवरीबडी knows what veganism is, and then they have made up their mind कि भैया हमें नहीं होना vegan, which is majority of the country. इंडिया में अभी बहुत सारे ऐसे लोग हैं जिन्होंने अभी इस बारे में सोचा नहीं है. तो वी हैव टू गेट टू देम. इवेंचुअली इट विल ऑल बी सैचुरेटेड एंड देन विल बी लेफ्ट विद, if we want to reduce the suffering of animals, we'll have to look at policy change. Then there is innovation and enterprise, जिसमें आपके mock meats आ गए, lab grown meats आ गए. तो मुझे ये लगता है a large part of when I talk about veganism is not about just going vegan. I mean, that's your basic, do not, don't rape, don't kill, and don't eat meat. That's basic decency. हाँ, उसके बाद because you are taking so much from this planet, you are here to do good. तो वो good करने का आप तरीके निकालें. तो मुझे यही उम्मीद है कि जब हम veganism के बारे में बात करें, आज जो youth है, they'll get attached to the cause, and some of them will be vegan entrepreneurs and problem solvers. So that's the hope. कि मेरे लिए काम actually थोड़ा आसान है. Awareness is easy, and next generation का काम मुश्किल होगा. I'm going for the lowest hanging fruit. वो लोग फिर उनको कन्वर्ट करेंगे जो लोग बिना मास्क के रह नहीं सकते.
Definitely. So taking from what you also said about policy, I come to Shankarji. So Shankarji, you've been on the task force with FSSAI. Talk a bit about vegan advocacy from this perspective of this very huge, thing that has happened.
Okay. Before coming to that, I would like to answer your previous question. It was not addressed to me, but it is relevant here. So people say veganism is a Western concept, but I don't agree with that, because ahimsa, when you practice, is originally from our religions, Buddhism, Jainism, and Hinduism, everywhere it was practiced. It is an extension of the same thing. Not eating animals is part of our ahimsa philosophy. And when we convert or find alternatives for our existing food, that becomes a little bit Western. Because the word vegan is Western, it is an English word, and the finding alternatives for everything, that is not Indian way of looking at veganism. We try to find alternatives for everything and find a substitute. So there people may find it not Indian and Western. So that is one relevance. And second thing, coming to your present system of certification in India and all, there are a lot of private certification agencies globally, whether it is PETA or other vegan society and European Vegetarian Union. All these people certify vegan businesses, vegan products. But if and when FSSAI certifies in India, this would be first agency, a government-run agency doing this job in the entire world. So that is very big positive and very big applause for India, because being the home of ahimsa philosophy, India is leading the way in the entire world. So this is very proud moment for all of us, and we will be when it is done. So that would be a big thing for us. And it is not happening just because of a few people. There are a lot of people without knowing the word vegan or concept of veganism, they are already practicing vegan philosophy. There are a lot of people, according to a survey, huge number of people, maybe they are deprived, maybe they are not willing to eat, they don't eat animal products. So this number is quite huge in India, though it is being penetrated by our chicken farming companies or dairy companies with a lot of vigor, but still there are a lot of people who don't consume animal products. That is the backbone of our vegan movement in India. So the FSSAI is doing, or the inspiration to do all this, it is not just modern awakened vegans. It is the base of people which is not consuming animal products. So that is helping the movement in a big way. And with that is a very, very encouraging movement, encouraging factor for all of us. Because without being aware of veganism, there are so many vegans in India. They may not practice 100%. Like Mahatma Gandhi had stopped consuming animal products in 1911. Still, he might be using some leather footwear. At that time, it was taken from dead animals, unlike present day. So therefore, that way, there are a lot of people who are very much ingrained in ahimsa philosophy. Because of that, they don't use animal products, still not aware of vegan movement. So that is driving in a way. Okay, this finding substitutes maybe because of westernized vegan movement coming to India, but living without animal products per se is originally an Indian concept. A lot of people already doing, irrespective of caste, creed, religion, they're already doing without being aware of veganism. I think that gives a lot of hope for us. That is a backbone of our movement, I feel, without taking any credit from our vegan activists. That is driving the change. Thank you.
Thank you. So, I'll just sort of say the conclusively what all of you have said is there is an aspect of building youth leaders that Prashant brought out, and that, we need more youth leaders that are already there, and we have to just recognize them and bring them out and give them the platforms. And because they have their inspiration in these global youth leaders that they have seen and taken after. At the same time, Robin, you have said that, that we have to, like Prashant also said, and you both of you sort of said in a way that we have to be enablers. When you said about veganism, you said that we have to help people do the best that they can, do as much as they can, right? And Shankarji, your entire philosophy is just so phenomenal and so inspirational, motivating when you talk about it. So you've talked about how ahimsa is just very core of our values, and ahimsa means no violence towards all, like absolutely zero violence. And though we do not consume, and you've also said something about there are a lot of people probably closeted, quiet, but they are vegans and they are practicing this lifestyle without talking a lot about it. So this country has enormous backbone for vegan advocacy as well. I just come to this last bit of a question that I have here. So there's a lot of talk around One Health concept. We have come to understand, because thankfully or very unfortunate for humanity, for animals, that the pandemic is here. But it has sort of led us in the direction of understanding that interconnectedness of life is something that you can't deny. And all of these systems of healthcare, of factory farming, of environment, biodiversity, it's all deeply interconnected. It's like a domino effect, and this has an impact on vegan advocacy. At the same time, there's a huge voice in the vegan movement that talks about intersectionality, that also talks about why not recognize the rights of all people who are sort of who are exploited within the animal farming industry. So livelihoods becomes a factor to really take into account. Do all of you think that these things have to really shape vegan advocacy towards the direction of, say, collaboration, holding hands with different sectors and finding out ways and solutions for livelihoods, finding out, because mental health is an issue in slaughterhouse workers, in people who work with animals. It's a huge issue, and it has probably been neglected for a long time, but it is being talked about now. And at the same time, hunger is talked about. So do you think that these things will come into play, or they have to come into play with the role of these organizations, I think Piapu included, to do something about it and to make the vegan movement inclusive of all of this? So Robin, maybe we can take this to you first.
Yeah, I believe in keeping it simple, stupid. So I don't want to complicate the issue. मैं चाहता हूँ एक आम बंदा जो कहता है कि भाई मैं अच्छा इंसान हूँ, आम बंदे का यही मानना होता है, मैं उसको जाके कह सकूँ भाई आप अच्छे इंसान हो, तो देखो फलाने प्रोडक्ट के लिए जानवर को दर्द होता है, दर्द बुरी चीज है, इसलिए आप ये काम कम करो. I want to keep it that simple. रही बात एम्प्लॉयमेंट की, तो उसका मैं तब सोचता हूँ कि भाई हमारे देश का एक बहुत बड़ा वर्ग जो है डेयरी पे डिपेंड करता है अपनी आजीविका के लिए, तो वो हमें डेफिनेटली सॉल्व करना पड़ेगा। जैसे दूध वाले कोऑपरेटिव हैं, वैसे ही प्लांट बेस्ड मिल्क वाला कोऑपरेटिव कोई बनना पड़ेगा, वो आजीविका देगा लोगों को, तो बदलाव आएगा, मतलब एक स्तर के बाद।
Great.
That is
Yes.
why I was talking about innovation and enterprise would be needed once we have hit that saturation level of awareness.
I think we are reaching there, Robin. ऐसा लग रहा भी है, और ऐसा, you can see it through. I mean, it may take us 3, 4 more years, 5 years, but the growth of plant-based industry and the way people are becoming aware, I think we'll reach there. At least I am hopeful. You said you are not the kind, but I
Right,
am the
आप
kind
देखिए,
also.
हम दोनों बहुत अलग अलग जगह भी बैठे हैं। आप, आई एम गेसिंग, आप किसी शहर में हैं।
हाँ, मतलब छोटा
हाँ,
शहर, बट शहर। हाँ.
तो जो ये हमारे सिटीज हैं, टाउन्स हैं, दे आर नॉट बल्क ऑफ इंडिया ना अभी तो बल्क ऑफ इंडिया स्टिल लिव्स इन रूरल इंडिया, और वहां पे पेनिट्रेशन अभी इतनी नहीं है मैसेज की। वो भी one of the primary reasons is a lot of this talk is in English.
हाँ जी.
तो मुझे लगता है कि अभी अवेयरनेस वाला सैचुरेशन आने में थोड़ा टाइम तो है।
Okay. Point taken. I think we have to also bring language, Hindi, regional. We have to also become more inclusive in that sense in our messaging. Taking the same question that I had asked first to Robin, to Shankar ji. Shankar ji, what do you think? I'm missing out whom to ask in Hindi, whom to ask in English also. Sorry, but what do you think from the perspective of intersectionality, from the perspective of One Health concept? Would vegan advocacy have to now look at collaborations? Should we be doing this, or is it the right time, and is it the way to go?
Yeah, we are all interconnected. Now we are connected through our digital platform. These are all superfluous. These are not permanent. Once your meeting is over, you are disconnected. But beyond that, there is strong connection between all of us. I see that even among animals, there is connection. A lot of animals coming here, they are all collaborating. They are all living together for peaceful existence. Even trees, they have cooperation, collaboration among themselves, so that everyone can survive and live a good life. Therefore, it's a collaboration among humans. It's very much necessary in all the activities. We are all interconnected in every aspect. So if you separate us, so there is no life. So we need to be connected, and every activity, constructive activity, productive activity, need to be coming together, and we need to work together for a common cause. So when we work, we're already working. We cannot work isolatedly. Simply we can say that there is no isolation. We connect more in real life. Okay, digital platform have 2 years. All this true, but personally, I want to go away from digital platforms. I want to live a real life. So that is what I want to do. I just made a Facebook post today. The day will come, I will meet people only in physical form. So no online meeting. So I want to reach that. So that is life actually. Even right from beginning, I could see a lot of things happening on internet. But outside world, there was not much happening. So that was my endeavor all these years, to take veganism to the real world, where it matters. So I used to go to different places, schools, colleges, or events. Everything was directed at doing something in the real world. We can write something sitting in front of a computer, and that is not going to help a lot unless it goes out of the computer. So that is my long-term strategy. I will not be available for you to have online program maybe after 5 years or so. So the real life is real challenges for us.
No, you'll be here for more decades to come. Please, we need more and more of you. And with that, I come to Prashant. Prashant, so what are your thoughts on the same question? So intersectionality, One Health concept, what is coming up for vegan advocacy?
I think the popularity of One Health shows that people are not looking at things in isolation, even social justice issues. And they're realizing the interconnectedness of it. At the same time, I want to say that advocacy has to be strategic and sustainable, both for the person doing advocacy and the person who is at the receiving end of it. Like one, probably everyone won't be able to turn vegan overnight, and a vegan advocate won't be able to by themselves go out and sort of advocate every single day of their life, every single minute. It's not sustainable for them. So that way we need to like strategically sort of see where there are opportunities to amplify our voice, and reach out to those groups and people on priority who, like Robin said, probably like the lower hanging fruits. So fortunately, the movement has reached such a place in India where the trend and the process of putting out information, familiarizing people with the word vegan, at least people in the cities are familiar now. There is now talk of material being in English, because we are reaching places where people don't understand English. That was not the case 5 years ago, right? So strategically, that's a priority now. We were not there 5 years ago, right? But at the same time, so we can't say just go to the villages just for the sake of going to the villages, right? See where there is most impact, where is abuse most, where, in which groups, in which geographies, there is more abuse of animals, there is more potential to prevent abuse of animals. And that's where we need to also strategically spend our time, because you and I are not going to be there forever. So we need to spend time grooming youth leaders, so spending time where there's most impact. So unfortunately, yes, in the last 2 years the focus has been on climate change and health, because we just have had to think about health and climate change at a heavy cost to all of humanity across the world. So it didn't come to us nicely, but it is an opportunity, right? So we need to make use of it and reach out to those groups and people and collaborate and build coalitions to amplify our voices. And in the long term, I think it's not going to be only about veganism. It is going to be about sustainability of what we do on planet Earth, right? If we can't be vegan and growing all our vegetables with chemical fertilizers and being all unhealthy and screwing up the soil, right? So we have to think about treading lightly on the planet, and that is the larger direction in which intersectionality, collaborations, and the One Health approach will lead us. But at the same time, I think again, we need to be sustainable. We need to take care of ourselves and do our advocacy sustainably.
Thank you. This sort of brings us to the conclusion of this session, and I just want this discussion to go on for maybe 2 more hours, because each one of you has this unique perspective and unique, some just very unique contributions to have. But time is very crucial, and time is always on the other side, ticking slowly but there. Thank you so much for your wonderful insights and sharing your experience and enriching us. And I think we have taken up quite a lot of points, and there are some very relevant aspects that have come out, whether about how Robin said awareness has to go on for quite a while till the saturation point comes in. It is really, really necessary. And then collaborations is something. What you talked about, Prashant, bringing youth leaders, how Shankarji said that sometimes you have to go away from the digital platforms also. You have to go simply to the people and talk about it. So there's a lot. I think I would personally go back and look at this session and try and understand more from this talk that we've just had. And thank you so much once again for choosing to spend this time with us on this very important topic. Thank you. Thank you so much. And thank you to the audience that is out there. Thank you. And with this, I give to you, Sanjana.